AI, genetic AI, and the new rule of work. Of course, it's by Vishal Jain, and I'm not sure that anybody needs to be really introduced to him, right? I'm sure you've seen him numerous times. He is the convener of the mentorship program and has been doing this so passionately for so many years. So, how are we going to have this program? First, we're just going to have a few questions with Vishalji. Then we hand it over to Vishalji to give his perspective on AI, genetic AI, and the new rule of work. After which, we will get to know about the mentorship program. And of course, your questions are most welcome. For those who don't know and need a little more introduction about Vishalji, Vishalji is the managing director at Accenture. He is really very passionate about innovation, analytics, and sustainability. He's been the CFO at American Express and has been in the finance domain for numerous years. By qualification, he's a chartered accountant, CPA, company secretary, and has an MBA from FMS Delhi. It's just absolutely amazing when we meet Vishalji, the type of energy that flows out of him. One, passion, energy, enthusiasm. And I really would love to know how he manages so many things, at the same time. He has been the convener of JPF mentorship program and is actively driving its initiatives and growth. He is also into spiritual intelligence, which we've had some sessions with him previously. And when we get to talk to him, he gives talks, I wouldn't say speeches, it is more talks on various topics, whether it is Nepal, and he's so actively involved in JITO and the concept of JITO, especially from applying the Jain principles in everyday life. So with that, I'm going to really say, Vishalji, big welcome to you. And the topic is such that it always arouses curiosity. So, what we'd like to know is from all of the participants who are here, if you could please type in the chat box the moment you hear this AI, agentic AI, what is one word that comes to your mind? Would love to see the chat box flowing. Yeah, okay. So it's already flowing. Lalit Jain says possibilities. What about the others? I'd love to hear from you. The moment you hear the word AI, agentic AI, what is the word that comes to your mind? Ah, curiosity, automation, creativity, to adapt to the latest change. Wow. End-to-end automation. Okay. Anyone else trying to type? Yeah, latest technology, tactical workflow out, focus on value. Thank you. Do use the chat box. And as we said, please use the chat box. Whatever questions do come up, you can type it there. It is being monitored by us, and we will get to your questions if it's not answered immediately. Right. Thank you so much for your participation here. And Ritu, I know you also have something to ask Vishal. Go ahead, Ritu, please.
I want to start with Vishalji. What is one word that comes to your mind when you hear of AI?
Interesting, and thanks, and welcome everyone, and glad to be here. Uh, Many words. So maybe I can answer in two ways. What one word coming to my mind, and what is the one emotion, right, coming to my mind, right, basically. So the word where it comes to mind with rapid evolution of AI is what I'll talk about as well. AI being equal to digital brain, right? Uh, And I think when you try to look at AI as a brain equivalent, you really you really get surprised what all it could do and is going to be doing. And then the question of what role we play in future comes in. Emotions, certainly curiosity is one. Uh, and I guess emotion, or a word, another word I would say, is figuring out. Everybody is trying to figure out where this is going to land and what is the future going to be. And I guess that's the intent of this session as well, that we will not get the answer here, but we have to be on that journey of figuring out for ourselves, for our kids, for our career, for our humanity, for our values. Uh, and figuring out could be very positive emotions. It could lead to negative emotions. So that's how I look at it.
Wow, great. Can you take us back to the very first time when you heard of AI? Like, what inspired you to use it, and what was that first thing that you actually tried with AI?
So for me, the journey began. I think we were in the space of, we were using the big data analytics, and gradually the new term came in, AI. So back in 2015, 2016, I led the data strategy and insights team in American Express, which was the core analytics team, which eventually became AI-led team of 300 engineers building solutions for our clients. And so the use of AI was about that. How do you use the power of data, the pattern recognition, and machine's ability to learn by itself to identify potential fraud, non-compliance, optimizing the spend? And that's how we built some solutions. I got 2 patents along with my teammates at American Express. That was the start of AI. But again, the newer one, Gen AI or now Agentic AI, is like constantly the technology is evolving. So it has got many facets of AI from the initial one to where it is going. So that has been the journey. So yeah, that's been my initial experience back in 2016.
Oh, seems like you straight away dived into it. I mean, without any hesitation. So awesome. How are you using it right now in your personal day-to-day things? Like, what are those important things that you've already left to AI?
Uh, So that's the beauty of it. I think when we began, in fact, I asked ChatGPT that, hey, what was my first query to you? I don't even remember when was the first one. And it doesn't record the history. So it did not answer me that, hey, I don't have the history. But the reality is that more and more this is becoming like a primary one to go to. I was talking to my son, rather than going to Google now, pretty much people are going to the Gen AI tools, be it ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity or others. So they become the primary one, and it is being embedded in day-to-day life. So I'll talk about few areas where I started using it. Of course, the regular ones we use it all the time, but more and more advanced. So the point is that anything and whatever we do on a day-to-day life, the question could be that AI first mindset, which is what I'll talk about later today.
Sure. So I won't take any more of this extra time and let you like go straight to the presentation that you already planned to share. So over to you, Vishalji.
All right, excellent. So let me just share my screen. Uh, all right. So welcome everyone, and I thank you for your time. And I wish I could do justice to your time on this Sunday. And apologies that we are hosting it during the time of Paryushan, the selection. We could have planned better, but I hope we do add value. I do add value to you. And again, the intention of this session is just to set the context. It's about not to be preaching about a tool or a DIY guide or right hands-on session. It is not to really educate, teach. That will not be a justice in this session, and I may not be the best person to answer. In fact, you got enough content on YouTube, social media, others places, courses. You could and you should do that. But the intention is more like a business leader's perspective of AI and Gen AI and Agentic AI. And my journey has been that while my background has been finance, did several things as Sushma ji talked about, I did pivot to technology alongside my journey on finance and business. I did about 4 years of SAP implementation, 4 years of Oracle implementation, American Express, couple of years of SAP FI and other modules in one of the companies I worked earlier. Worked on Oracle Business Intelligence and the reporting tools, number of reporting tools, and then about 5 years in data strategy insights team in Amex, where we had AI-led capabilities, including got some patents. And in my current role in Accenture, the journey is about really driving the next wave of transformation through this technology, and the technology is rapidly evolving. So what I'm going to be bringing today is more of the business leaders' perspective of really how do we simplify and demystify some of these terms, just to remind why it is so unique and why it matters for us to really, really prioritize, and how it is shaping the future of work. And I'll share some day-to-day example Ritu, what you talked about, so I can just tell you some hands-on experience of really I was myself pleasantly surprised, frankly, about the power of the technology. And just to take a few minutes also about the risk and challenges and what it means for us going forward and what could be the actions we all can take, right? Uh, and again, the reason that I pivoted this is that I totally believe this is not about tools, because tools will come and go. The technology will keep evolving. Today, you're hearing about Agentic AI. Maybe there'll be next version. There could be AGI, and there will be so many. But I guess it requires a very fundamental shift in our mindset about technology, about how do we lead ourselves in our day-to-day life, how do we use our time, and how do we think about our career, job, education. So that's my assertion number one, and I'll have five others during the course of the session, just to really bring the point, and you may make a note of it, and we can come back during our Q&A as well. So the point I'm saying is about mindset, because when it is a tool, there is a question that, hey, where do I use it? Can I use it for this or this? Then I get very specific about this is the thing. But the point about AI is not about this is the thing. This is like a next big wave of, and it's a very disruptive force in anything and everything happening in our life, and I think for most part. And that's why it requires a very different mindset about using this technology and how it's going to impact our day-to-day work. Okay, so let me go to this screen, and I'll take a pause and I'll let you absorb this image. Right, this is a maybe hundreds of years old picture when wheels were not even evolved or innovated. Think about our life, and you can see the pictures, right? There are three characters here. Where do you fall in this picture? You could be number one, the person who has two wheels in hand, right? You could be number two, the person who is politely refusing the help. No thanks, because we got it figured out. Or you could be a character number three. We are too busy. You're so overwhelmed with your work that okay, so just type in, are you one? Are you the two, which is in the middle? Are you three on the right side? Okay, excellent. Uh, it's such a straight question, so I can see that most are answering one, some are three, some are two. So I guess you can get the drift, right? Think about this wheel is about AI, whether AI, Gen AI, Agentic AI, doesn't matter, but AI in general. So the character one is those who are creating all these capabilities, all the companies in the world, and every now and then you keep hearing new innovation models, tools, capabilities, apps being developed. Uh, Character number two is basically you could be a leader. Your teammates are doing the job. You are also pushing the work. But you know that you're confident that, hey, I know what the solution is. Or you could be a number three who is so overwhelmed. And that's the point that if wheel was one thing, if you visualize how wheels got disruption to the world and how it got people together, the civilization together, the world we live in today got influenced by a wheel innovation, right? And if you think about now AI and all the different technologies, it is probably many, many times, several times disruptive, transformative in so many ways than we can't even imagine. And in that journey, then, are we too busy that we are not even paying attention? Are we waiting for something to happen to us, a disruption or an impact, or are we really taking the charge and embracing? And as you know, today we all embrace wheel. Today we all embrace automobile. Earlier, when cars were invented, for many many years, they were ridiculed that hey, how could you ever have cars for commute? And now that's part and parcel of our life. So I guess the point is that assertion number two, if I was to look at that, no matter what, you got to really engage with AI, and I'll come back to this point. And why that matters? Because if you see the chart at the bottom, right? See the pace of innovation, right? What was something about steam power about 1700? We got computer, let's say the rise of electricity about in the age about 1800s, computer age. And then now, as you keep looking at on the right side, you see the pace of change and the pace of innovation and disruption is getting faster and faster, right? It's not about hundreds of years. It's not about tens of years. It's not even about number of years. So it's about even in months. Now, the computing power is really, really getting faster, and it is getting multiplied within few months, within few weeks. I think the theory is that every 5 months, computing power is getting multiplied, right? Getting doubled. Some people say it is rather even faster than that or so, right? So that's why I think the machines are getting smarter and they're advancing daily and capable of doing more complex tasks than ever, right? Number two, the data is exploding. The data what we have. Can you still see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Okay. And so data is exploding and the pace of change is multiplying. And that's why I think the key point is that we can't even imagine how things are unfolding faster and how they are disrupting, as you'll see some of the examples later today. So the point I was saying is that if you are still in the Stone Age, waiting for wheel to adapt or not, or rather you rather engage, whatever you are, whoever you are, whether you're a homemaker or a business person or a professional, whether you are a youngster, whether you're a person like me, whether you are a senior citizen, you got to engage with technology, whether you like it or not, right? It is as simple as that, because the world is shifting, tectonic shift is happening, and you can't be still in the middle. And the best way to figure out the possibilities and have your own experience rather than relying on a session like me or anybody else or any YouTube content is start playing with it, using it, and you realize the power, you realize the limitation, you realize you have the first hand experience of what it means to your life, right? So if there was a takeaway from this session, that you don't need to wait for any course, you don't need to wait for any session, but you got to have that fire in your belly if you are a student, if you are a professional, that hey, I got to know and I got to be the early adapter. I got to be leading the change rather than being waiting for a change to happen to me. Okay. So this will be my like this was a one takeaway. This will be the one for you to remind yourself, because it's really mind blowing. This is the big deal. And this is not about a new tool is invented. This is not about when I was starting my career, there was a big wave around ERP, right? So it's not about that, hey, one tool is coming, technology is coming. The technology is being implemented on the top of each other. That's why what you see now is a combined effect or number of years, number of decades of humanity, of the technology evolution. So just to demystify the key terms, right? In terms of in AI. Okay, so demystifying key terms, of course, just to keep it very simple, again, you must have gone through many sessions. I won't spend too much time, but I think about the number one at the bottom is AI is the overarching field of really mimicking machines, mimicking human intelligence. That's the best way to see it. And I think I'll come back to the term digital brain. And I think that's the best way to really think about when you think about as humans, we say we have a core work to do, we have our mind working, we think about something. And here, what we're talking about, machines' ability to really mimic human intelligence. Machine learning is a discipline within AI, a subset of AI, wherein a machine can learn not from a specific programming, but can learn from by itself, right? Just go back, right? And learn from the data. Deep learning is within ML another specific technique where it could deal with kind of a complex neural network, like what the way our brain operates. It deals with images, speech recognition, and things like that. Now, Gen AI is where the biggest wave happened around November of 2022, as you know, and I think we are still to complete 3 years. And just think about how disruptive it has been. It is really about generating new content from learned patterns. And the agentic AI is the new one, which I'll come to. It's about really automating the task planning and execution. And then you can have number of terms, number of technology around this, but broadly, this is to really level set of what it is. Right. Now, going to the next slide. Now, just to spend time in terms of what is different. Typically, see what will happen in the way we have dealt with technology. In a traditional interaction, we will have a program, we will input something, we will give instruction to the machine, program will be developed, and then we will ask users to adapt to the program. Hey, if you are working on SAP system, Oracle system, or any other system, you click here, you really look at the user manual, you spend months or years, or not years, or months or weeks to learn a particular program, then machine will give you a specific answer. If you want any change, you again do the coding, you again wait for weeks or months, and then you get that answer. So traditional interaction was all about really that humans adapting to technology or machine. The new way, the change is that the tables have turned, is really that machines are really adapting in a human-like language, in a human-like interface to machines are adapting to the humans than other way around, right? And that's the biggest change when we think about Gen AI or whatever such tools are there, the large language model, their ability to work and act like humans. So going to the next slide. If you see, sorry, just go back. In Gen AI, I think I have some problem with the content maybe. So just go a slide back. Just a slide back before, sorry. Yes. So Gen AI, I think so the best way to think about Gen AI and all the tools are like a digital brain. So let's say if I ask any question, maybe Ritu, if I ask you a question that where do you live? What's your
Indoor.
answer?
Indoor.
So, in Indore. Okay. So what I asked you, and then you answered, and your mind worked to give you that answer. Your mind had somewhere stored in your memory that yes, you live in Indore, and it gave the answer, right? Now, when I asked you that question, you did not answer me that, hey, I live in Indore, Madhya Pradesh, India. You knew that I'm answering is irrelevant to me because we all are in India, right? You knew that I am aware that the Indore is part of MP, right? And then you could answer me directly as Indore,
Right.
correct? So here is how our brain operates. Our brain operates based on years of data and memory. Brain operates based on the context it understands from the user who is asking. In this case, it was me asking the question. And then your brain knew that in what context and what is the intent of my question. And then your brain gave specific answer in a language I could understand. The best way to think about Gen AI is like a digital brain. And there are two things very important. That's why this technology is so very powerful. Number one, its ability to understand context and intent. It understands that in what context this question is asked. So Vishal is asking this question during this session. Vishal understand that Ritu, you are already in India, so you don't need to answer that. And understand the intent that it is just in a session I'm asking you, right? And uh, then uh, then the tool and the Gen AI, the number two thing is about its ability to generate human-like responses, a response which a human can understand. So if I, for example, if I ask in this session, uh, right, for example, what is the one movie, if there was one movie which describes your life today, Ritu, what would that be? Here I'm putting you on spot because you asked me some questions. So here I'm putting you on spot.
Okay, so uh, uh, I can't say one movie that describes my life, but one movie that I want to live forward would be Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, like getting to do those wish list things.
Yeah, exactly. So here you did not give a command that, hey, to your brain, give answer like this and this. First response should be the movie, and you did not say that, hey, how do you filter the movie in terms of the query and the pattern and the number of likes, number of time I watched that movie versus others. It came naturally, and you don't even realize that.
Right.
Likewise, when we see and deal with the tools like ChatGPT or any other tool, and when it is giving answer, think about that. Those technologies we have got the entire internet at its disposal. It's everything is being churned out, and answer is given in a human-like language, and that's the power of this tool. So the two things which makes it so very special is about ability to understand context and intent, and number two, ability to generate human-like response. So these are the two very fundamental one when you were to think about this technology. And the word is digital brain. When you have a brain, you have so much of power. And as we say, we are hardly utilizing even 6% or 8% of our brain. And think about in that context that the brain, which is available to us as a natural extension, is this technology and how we would like to use it, basically. Okay. So now this is the power, this is the Gen AI. Now let's go to the next one, which is about agentic AI, right? Now, click the next slide. So now the question has been that, yes, when I deal with all these different tools, it can give me this answer. Hey, can you give me specific, uh, how do I draft my email? Can you tell me that how do I look at the next session title for level up series, right? Can you tell me how do I plan for this in this project? Can you help me with my code? When the technology can help me with answers of all these questions, why can't just really be doing it, right? So now the next wave in this entire transformation, the agentic AI, is about really beyond answering to really doing, right? So the difference becomes that, hey, when I'm already so the intention is that you got to have a clear goal that, hey, I would ultimately would like to have an end goal, but I don't know how to get there. This is not like a process driven that do one thing, second click on the second thing, and click on the third thing to get an answer. You would like to get to an end goal. It is not a very linear path. You could have many ways to get there, but yes, you have an end goal in mind. Path is unclear, and there are series of actions to be performed which are not linear. And then each step can change after the next one. And then you need to really juggle across different tools and systems. So typically, this is what we do in our corporate job. This is what we do typically, that while we have different tools, but as humans, we have to go to this system, to this system. We have to talk to this person. We need to write to this email and this email. And this is what we do. Now, an example in the personal context is something like a vacation planning, right? Typically, this is what I would do. For example, I was planning a vacation in Kerala, and imagine I'm talking to a travel agent that plan 5 days vacation to Kerala, and we are a family of four. And by the way, I got two kids, but they are at age 16. We can really fit in the same room. It could be a suite. We prefer a vacation which should be relaxing, but do plan a local sightseeing. If possible, plan a self-driving. So you see this a typical way we would deal with a travel agent, right? When we want to plan a vacation. And this is not a linear one that, hey, put this into one system and one person can get you the answer. The travel agent typically will talk to you that, hey, Acha, clarify for me this and this, which place in Kerala, okay, which are the hotels, which is the flight you would like to go with. And typically you have series of tasks eventually, which you can then plan. And ultimately that's where you lead to a vacation. What it requires is a lot of time in planning, going through multiple tools, multiple sites, multiple options, multiple hotels, multiple flights, multiple locations, and you fit in to get to that answer. Now, typically, the way to think about agentic AI, if at all there were agents, like series of agents, they can really execute the task right from observing what is really happening in your world, where you would like to go in Kerala, are there any travel restrictions, how is the weather like. It can go and execute the task number two, which is about really figuring out hotels, to the flights, to the vacation, to the self-driving options. to the number three, actually doing it in an autonomous manner, and finally giving you the results and also restoring in the memory about, hey, what did you do this time? So that next time around, when you want to plan a vacation, I remember what your preferences are. Now, this is something in the context of agentic AI is like a series of autonomous tasks done by the technology to give you an answer. And it throws exception where it is required. Otherwise, it can really execute. So going to the next slide, what makes an AI agent an agentic? I think first of all, it is the power, it's the power to really observe what's happening, gather data from the world, not just like our senses, reasoning, figuring out what to do next, breaks down the goals into different actionable steps. Number three, take actions. Not only it will really suggest that, hey, by the way, this hotel is to go to, this flight you can take, this particular option or this particular place you can go to, but it will also execute and do the planning and the booking if at all you're able to, or if you are willing to provide your own credit card and other details. And number four, and then not only it will do the booking, it can also send you the itinerary, it can block your calendar, it can clear your calendar, and then it also remembers in the memory in terms of what are your past experiences, so that, and it can also remember from memory that your frequent flyer options or your hotels or for your hotels or for your flights, and it can remember in future what are your preferences. For example, it can remember that you don't prefer late night flight, you don't you live in India in Gurgaon, so it will remember. So it is not really asking you every time that, hey, which location I should book my flight from. So that's the context in which the agentic AI is coming in a big wave. In our corporate context, typically, for example, in my context, for example, in the forecasting and planning, we would deal with series of tasks with the steps. So can I develop an agent which can really analyze my files, identify pattern, and really tell me that what is going wrong and tell me exception list so that I can pay my attention there. The agent we are building right now, we just gone live, is about if I load a complex Excel file, can it tell me anomalies where things are very off? Because humans' eyes, our ability to really identify some of those aberration could be very, very difficult. So can I use the power of technology to throw me some exception list? Right? In the context of accounts payable or AR, typically you will look for a PO, you look for a purchase order, you look for the key terms in the purchase order, you got the invoice, you validate invoice with the purchase order, you compare the two. If you have any exception, you differences, you write an email to a supplier that, hey, by the way, clarify this and this, whether that is right or not. And once that clarification is done, I execute and make the payment. Now think about number of agents being deployed who can talk to each other to execute all of these steps, and they come to a human or human in the loop in case of any exception for it to really intervene as the need be. So that's the context in which the agentic AI is becoming like a big force, how the workforce can be disrupted. And let me share some examples here. And I guess somehow I got into this internet issue at my other screen, which I could use otherwise. Uh, just a minute. Let me take questions in between while I'm really starting my other screen, just to show some of the examples from personal life.
Can I stop sharing, Vishal?
Yeah, you can. Otherwise, let's ask questions if I
Yeah,
cannot see the comment screen right now.
sure. So one of the questions that comes up is, for example, we use Chat GPT. Now you said, you were talking about it'll clear your calendar, etc. So
Yeah,
what are the type of tools are we really using to do all
yeah.
this?
So first of all, and I'll show examples from.
Ah,
Okay, so let me share examples right now. For example,
right. That I think would
okay,
be very helpful.
right.
Yes.
So let's see. Where do I go? And let me use here from personal side.
Hmm.
Okay, and just a minute. And this is a very simple tool because I'm using from my personal side. Of course, I can't use the official one or so, right? Uh, so let's say this is the agent mode in ChatGPT, right now.
Okay.
Imagine in our Sushma ji, as you can relate to in our JITO Professional Forum Mentorship Program, we have our
Right.
WhatsApp group, we have our LinkedIn, and in LinkedIn we have corporate JPF, corporate executive close group. Now that has got about 200 members. In my own contact, there are thousands of people with Jain as the last name, and again many other surnames who I know Jains. And ideally, what I would do, I would typically would like to invite them, right, to join, hey, this group. So this is my let's say screen. I'm just sharing my live screen, and hopefully you guys can see it.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay. Do you see my screen?
Yes, perfect
Yeah.
this time.
Okay. Okay. And hopefully it doesn't interrupt. So here is a corporate executive close group. Okay. And okay. And here I would like to manage group. Okay. And hey, let me now, let's say if I want to invite people, right? Basically. So here, let's see. So here invited automatic, just a minute, members and invited. Where do I see here? Just a minute. See, you're finding search group members. Just a minute. Invite connections. See. So now let's say I would like to invite people who are gens and I want to invite them to this group, right? And I have to click here, I have to click here, I have to click here, I have to click here. And think about it, I need to go one by one, right? And I keep going there and it will keep uploading. Then I go and select, and then I can just say, okay, by the way, I want to invite all of them uh, to, to this group. Typically, as you will find, very, very painful process, right? And then that's how it will happen. Now here, you want to leave and discard your selection. So let's say, why am I not seeing the screen here? Okay, so discard. Okay. Now this is a very painful one. I don't want to be spending my time every day to go through one by one, and I'd rather, for example, I want rather use something automated or see. So I said, by the way, please send JPF corporate executive close group invite. Go to my LinkedIn and please send invite to my connections with the last name as Jens. Okay. So now this is an agent mode. And again, this is, I'm using a very basic function. This is not agentic AI. This is just the power of the technology. I just want to bring it home, right? So that we can all appreciate and understand. Typically, what would I do? Either I do it manually, I write some system coding or a platform. Hey, every time I fetch an API of LinkedIn, I write this code. Every time you go, write this Jan. Today I'm saying Jan. Tomorrow I want to have a different name. I want to have Bafna or Banthia, right? I would go and then do that, right? Think about the technology, and it's also showing you what am I doing. I'll use for LinkedIn. And again, I've given my credentials to this technology. I'll go to LinkedIn, Gmail tab, did not open as expected. So it is showing you that how am I doing, correct? Loading, but I'll wait for fully load before proceeding. I'll show the complete page is loaded, calling it up. Now it's going to the group link, opening it up. So typical way we would do technology implementation is coding. Even if it was RPA, robotics process automation, you will write some code, you will write some scripts, right? Or right, and then it will execute. And here I gave a very human-like language. Talk to my LinkedIn, go to this corporate executive group, look at people with Jan, and now invite people and send them invite to my connections and all that. And I think ideally I should have said this, please stop, right? Because, and it says use sensitive data. So I'll go through the search results and extrude those. I'll compile a list of and send ask users, right? So it is just doing that one by one. Okay. With the last name Jain from the list of invite, I'll check the checkbox next to each. This included both senior and non-senior role. As now here it says it. I look for both senior and non-senior roles, because in my earlier query to it, I said that hey, if somebody is a senior like a CFO or CEO founder, exclude them. I don't want to just send them an automated request. I'd rather give a context. So it remembers that. This time I did not see, but it says I'm doing it. Vishal Jain do know that I'm selecting both senior and non-senior, right? And now it is going one by one. I review the list, identify those who are not marked as already invited, is already invited. So I won't select Sakshi Jain already invited. So I'll not select. I'll notice only Anil Jain was selected while others are not. So this is a technology doing one by one, right? And now let me stop it here. And I'll rather say, by the way, do ask. So let's say if I share with you this earlier one, right? Sorry. Send LinkedIn message. From my, and so my first interaction here again recently was from my LinkedIn account, send a message to Samad Jain, Emory University. How are you doing? Again, it executed so and so, right? Then can you find my connection with the last name Jain? Send them the invite. Do ask before sending. So now it compile. I see you so and so. Ask for confirmation. I've selected so and so people. Would you like me to send these invites now? Right? The invitation has been sent to the first 5 Gen connection. Let me know if there's anything else you can do with. And then so this is just the thing. Now I'm just sending you another sophistication here, just to bring the point home about the power of technology and how the things are coming, right? So again, I did this. Do exclude people who are senior, like director, CFO, CEO, founders, etc. Do ask me before sending, and send invite to 5 of my connections, right? So anyway, let it do this work, but that is just to really bring the point. Now I said directors, CFO, CEO, founders, etc. Now typically a machine would be instruction based. Director or directors, machine will stop. If you wrote director, it will stop. If there's a spelling error, or if I wrote director, CFO, CEO, founders, it will stop there. Now I'm asking machine or technology to think through the senior, so it will really judge and apply. And again, it's going to be asking me before sending, so that I'm comfortable to do that also. Okay, so let it do while really we will come back, right? So now think in the corporate context. When you have any person working in finance deals with Excel file, typically, for example, we get a query that, hey, by the way, send me, and I'll come to the access part, profile part, security part. Absolutely very, very valid questions. But the point in my personal context, in my official context, people will say, hey, can I have this and this data? A query will come to my team. Please send me this and this data for the last 2 years in row number 1, and I'm looking for market by revenue by this year. The last column should be total. And so the query is coming in a typical way that I want this data in a particular manner, and I want analysis like that. A typical human would do what? Human will do into the Excel sheet, identify, look at different data options, analyze, massage it, put some commentary, and send it. It could take half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours or so. But the data is already there in the system somewhere. Now, machine's ability to really analyze, put that data into a particular very clean Excel file, a table with the chart, with the options, and then execute. If at all you're okay to send it directly execute, or you ask, I want to review before you send. So I can say, yes, I would like to review. I can review whether the data is correct, formatting is fine, then I can just ask it to execute, right? This is the simplest of the example of, if you were to think about this like a personal life, day-to-day agent, what you could do, this is what is happening now. Now we already reviewed some numbers. So let's look at the way it is really. We are back at the selection, high level name, right? Ratnesh. I'll scroll down again, continue looking for it. It is selecting the first five, and then again it will ask something, right? Now, likewise in my personal life, there was this example question that, hey, typically we all go for office, right? It's a crazy traffic nowadays. Now the question was that, hey, by the way, what is the right time to travel to office? Should I go in the morning, 9 o'clock? 9 o'clock is a peak time. Should I go at 11 because 11 o'clock is probably non-peak time? Or maybe everybody is now traveling at 11 o'clock. Even that time, it is very, very crazy traffic. Or rather, I leave at 1 o'clock. What is the right time? So what would I do typically? I go to Google Map every time. I check, by the way, what is the time to go? And then, or I can ask Google that typically what is the time taken at 2 o'clock? So it will tell me broadly, but it's a very broad range. So the question came that, hey, by the way, why not something like this using the power of vision and technology? That can I do? Can I identify that what is the right time to leave, right? So let me just show when this finishes this, but this can really tell you that in terms of what the technology is doing, right? Uh, so so this is the just a personal life using for a day-to-day purposes, correct? Likewise, for example, again, I'm not saying whether yes or no, right or wrong. Go to my LinkedIn and look at the people whose birthday is today, send them birthday wishes. Of course, one can do that. I'll rather do it customized, more authentic rather than technology to do it because there's no value of those birthday messages when it is automated generated. That's how I believe. But again, the power of technology. Go to my Gmail account every day at 8 o'clock, scroll my emails, give me the summary of the top 5 emails I need to attend to, or tell me, by the way, which are the websites or which are the emails I need to subscribe, which I have not opened in the last 6 months. So again, this is a pure simple language you write in the technology and then you really execute that. Okay. So now, so this is what the and again it says sensitive data, right? Again, so I'll come to the security part and all, but I'm just telling you that in the personal context, what you're observing, and think about in the corporate context, why everybody is jumping on this technology. Because ability to technology to as I said, understand the human like language and the context, and number two is ability to generate human like content, right? And that's the power of it. Okay. So now that's what is this. Now let me just share examples in terms of okay, it is still, and again, you can say right now the speed is slow, maybe it takes time, but think about technology 2 years back, 3 years back when ChatGPT came, the power of images was very, very poor. It's so very fast. The technology continues to evolve, and it will get faster and faster, faster as we all we know about it. Okay. Now likewise here, let's say in the same discovery phase, and then look, okay, so now just to go back while this completes the job, can you go to Google Map account to find time required between my home and work? Okay, I'll go to Google Map in your browser. You might want to see. It says driving location is this. This is the typical ChatGPT, no magic here, right? Can you try this every hour for the next 3 hours and tell me the time required in driving a car with the shortest duration? Thanks, I can try 5 minutes for this. And I can't continuously monitor. It says I have a limitation. I can't continuously monitor. I'm asking that how long can you monitor this traffic situation? I don't have ability to monitor so and so, so and so, so and so. So then the question again that how can I create agents using ChatGPT or other GenAI tools which can continuously run over a period of time? So it is now giving me options. Why don't you do cron plus API? Why don't you do ever plus webhook? And by the way, I don't have that technology background, or I'm not like a geek who will know event webhook or otherwise. Here is the journey, the personal journey about no code, low code, this tool and this tools and all that, right? Now it's giving me a bunch of options, and I don't know all of these options. The moment I see a screen like this, I get really scared. That what does it mean? Correct. So now, but the power is that is becoming so easy to use, and really asking and using the chat GPT as an example that, hey, guide me, what do we do? Right. So it is asking me that what you would like to do. I say chat GPT tasks, and then let's say so it's giving me different options that if you were to create an agent or an API, you can do this and this and this. And if you were to do a Google API interface, you want to do this and this and this, right? And again, this is something it is telling me seeming very, very complex, but what I can do is try one by one or so. So ultimately now telling you the examples from the site in terms of this is livable. This is the app created, okay, on the same point that, hey, by the way, how do I know on an ongoing basis what is the best time for me to go from my home, which is this home, and my office, which is Accenture office in Tower C, Building 8, Cyber City. Okay. And here you see, it gives me an option. It gives me all these options where I would like to go. It is telling me the travel time. It is telling me what is the departure option, 11:30 p.m. The next option, right now, the option is 25 minutes. And it's giving me the travel history. And this is something done in interface with Google API, right? By clicking. Now, this is something self-made, hands-on experience by a person who is not as tech savvy in the current generation is, right? But this is again, this is one of the tools. There are a number of tools or so, but if you just see experiment and playing with it, create an app that recommends the best time to depart from a location every day. Lovable. Okay. I'll create a travel optimization app that recommends the best departure time based on traffic, weather, daily pattern. This will have a clean, modern interface, so and so, so and so, so and so. So here is the first output it created. Downtown office. This is the first output just based on that. You for sorry.
No.
So this is just based on those human-like language. I did not write, hey, create me that. But look at the power that ability to create the very first version. And this is again the shell. This is not an app or so. Again, this is not, I'm not saying I can really deploy and otherwise. But a shell got created. It can give me options. So and so. Then I'm saying, hey, by the way, I would like to now, please correct my, okay. So let's say, then I'm saying that, hey, by the way, okay. Then the question is number two, can you give drop down on the address where to go to place option? So it gave the drop down. So now the drop down is, it says options, home, airport, downtown, gym, school, shopping mall, hospital. Then I say, okay, in the drop down menu, put Accenture office, Badshahpur Mandir, where I go every day, airport terminal 3, airport terminal 1, and heritage school, where I go to. Okay, I'll update the drop down, so and so, and all that. And here is the drop down created. Okay. In the first box, instead of showing downtown office, show home. I'm saying. So here I want to say home. So again, I'll update home. So think about it. This is like a human-like interface. Again, to my point, in a human-like language, I'm asking, and it is getting updated. Now it doesn't serve the purpose because in respective tiles for option, change time I selected. I said, hey, for Accenture office, show 28 minutes, show. So I was to show some concept or a Figma is very easy to show. Here is how what I'm realizing and visualizing. Okay. And then I'm saying change the app map to app name to HMT, like HMT watch we used to have long time back. How much time, and put an object of watch to indicate time. So now it has got, of course, change the app name. And now it has got in this version a HMT watch and how much time. Okay. Now at the Google API metrics, I'll not show the API here. Just show the API so that it is showing me the actual distance. So this is still a dummy data at this stage, but show me the actual distance. So now I'm using the Google API. And again, so here, what did I do? I kept on creating. Where I got stuck, I took the screenshot, put it on ChatGPT. Hey, I'm trying to create something on Lovable app. I got stuck here, guide me here. Oh, by the way, for you this, you need a Superbase so-and-so. Or for this, you need to create a Google Sheet API. So now, again, I know I'm just realizing the time. So now, long story short, where we are right now at the moment, and this is something I worked with my son in the last couple of days in as we anyway working together. So now, here is the current version. Okay, and then is the point around, and let's see where did we land here on the earlier one. Send LinkedIn message. Stay pause. Okay, just a minute. So I think it's got stopped when I stopped there. Okay, so here is this the current version, departure time alert, travel history, and so and so. So now there are many ways. So again, the point I'm saying is we can go on and on or so. I think the point is that in a combination of the tool, which is one side is app generation, other side is ChatGPT, other side is Zapier, ability to create something in an automated manner. So here, what was the role of agent? Now, for that app to work with the historical data in the last 7 days of my travel time, I need the agent to be created to be able to record at every 1 hour interval what is the time, because Google doesn't show the agent, ChatGPT doesn't show historical performance, it doesn't store that. For that to happen, I need to create an automation script, or so to say the agentic script, which is where I use Zapier, and you run, and then it goes to the every 1 hour, it creates the distance between one place to the other, tower C to this, right? And then it creates and records in a Google Sheet, and that gets recorded every time I have. So now this sheet is recording that, hey, between this time to this time, the historical data of 33 minutes in traffic is what is taking. So this becomes the historical data which feeds into the app to really show that. So again, point I'm saying is that this is not a tool, this is not a session to really tell you that what do you do. But the point I'm saying is a couple of things. This is something like somebody who is more of a business consumer of a leader or a person using the thing, trying the hands out, where got stuck, used a bunch of tools, including ChatGPT, Claude, other way, and then you can rather put the screenshot to get the answer and then start working on the creation journey, right? Now, likewise, there was this question in my daughter had that, hey, by the way, in a typical PTM, the look at the first instruction here, or let me just go to, and we'll just close after this. And I think I need to go back to my content, but let's say here, just a minute. Okay, PTM scheduling app. Okay, please help me with the prompt for an app on Lovable. This app will be about the appointment scheduling of parents with teachers during a PTM meeting. Today, all teachers queue up outside the teachers, or all parents queue up outside the teacher's room. Then go to the next one. When the next one, it leads to long wait. Some teachers are idle while waiting for parents. It's similar to traffic monitoring. So here is the prompt it gave me for Lovable, which I can modify, okay, and create. And then when I put it there, here I put that prompt. And then here is the very first version. We have not worked on it further, but think about the power of things that in terms of ability. And then I said, hey, change the name of the parent to Vishal Jain, change the name of daughter to Kashish Jain, grade 10, heritage. So it gives me the total meeting, so and so extra. Here are the current queue of the teachers. As a parent, you need to go to. Here is a teacher. From the teacher perspective, hey, who are the parents who are waiting for the queue? And as an admin, how many meetings are done, how many completed, average lead time. Now, this is just the initial, maybe 5 minutes work of initiating a prompt, copying and pasting it to get to this version. But I'm just saying that the point around ability to technology to really talk to each other, get the very first version for you to work with is really, really mind blowing. So going back to my content now, and then we can just open it up for Q&A. I just realized that time wise, I guess, uh, so so the so the point is that, as I said, it is really like anything we have seen before. And Vinod Khosla, who I follow, I think it says that the type of change we have seen in, imagine 50 years back, what was our life? There was no TV, there was no telephone, there was no, like, hardly I would travel or a flight or so. There was no OTT, nothing like that. All right, everything manual. What change we have seen in a lifetime, and think about the change which are going to be seeing in the next 15 years, going to be more than what we have seen in the last 50 years or so. So the point is this, is about, and again, I shared this example, right? How it did, how this was done. This is something, just to give you another example. This is the traffic light near our place. Typically, a light will be stopped, red light will be for 155 seconds, and it turns green for 15 because it's a set as a rule. So on the same red light, while this side is so long, 155 seconds, the other side is free, and people are just waiting idle because nobody's there. It's a sheer wastage of time. Between me and me, my daughter went to the traffic officer, and then we say, hey, by the way, why don't you adjust? Ideally, the smart light is the easiest example for AI. Forget about the big thing. Yeah, red light, though, you can adjust so that you save time for everyone. So ultimately, they did. They said, okay, by the way, we'll change it. They called up somebody, but there has to be a better way. It cannot be Vishal Jain or somebody else, like some one of us, to go to a traffic police commissioner and to request. Why should that be? Ideally, there should be a Google API. Google already records, this is the same intersection, records that how much traffic is there during this stage, this interaction from yellow to red, and going to the left side is blue. So can you create something which can really help you power? So this is the end user taking a charge. This is not a developer or a business leader or an entrepreneur. I'm just saying, my daughter and I just, hey, what if we create something like this? And again, I can just show the demo in terms of what it created. Again, I'm saying, qualifying it. This is not working app. This is not commercial. This is getting your hands dirty. Start working with it. You realize the power, all limitations, and concerns around security. You work through it. You realize the right option also. So the point is that this is a famous Raj Shamani, right, podcast which I follow. Of course, he's got many of them. But the point is that build, don't talk. And I guess technology is democratizing, right? AI has democratized technology. I would still need tech people, I would still need app people, but my ability to appreciate, visualize, get my own hands dirty, or rather create my own stuff is really shrinking barriers. And this is not just about technology, people using or not using it. All of us in our day-to-day life, our job has got bunch of work repeatable on an ongoing basis, which you think about. If LinkedIn messages can send, applying that logic, what to do, what not to do, think about when the agents and the number of the technology come to play, how much it can really disrupt. And that links to the point around what the future of work looks like. And I'll just wrap it in about 5 minutes. I think the point is that this is the World Economic Forum study of about 23, and there's a new one also already out of 2025. Again, the point is the jobs of future are going to be impacted, whether they are going to be automated or they are going to be augmented through technology, or they will be less impacted, or new ones will be created. Yes, you will always have a shift happening. New jobs will be there, the old will get reduced, shrunk, whichever way. The point is that the impact is seen across the board, right? Now, whether it is going to impact 80% or 80% of job, or whether it's going to be X percentage, doesn't matter. But all of us should know that in our day-to-day life, right here, right now, we're using AI companions, right? For this, if somebody else was there earlier, was first taking a notes in our meetings. Nowadays, we don't really have a note taker because you already have AI taking the notes and sending the action items and the follow-ups, right? So it is really getting impacted across the board. When you see sector by sector, with the high degree to the low degree of automation impact, things are getting impacted. I think the point is not about am I in one of the sector or the other. The point is that the AI first mindset is what is needed for us to move forward with. So there's this famous Amara's law. It says we often overestimate the impact of technology in the short term and underestimates an impact in the long term. Okay, just a reminder. As we saw, Google Map in 2008, it came to India. Initially, there were a lot of speculation. There were a lot of this thing that, hey, it doesn't really work. How, when you're more than 50% of Indian roads are not even digitized or not even having the names, how could you really have a Google Map working? Did we ever visualize or imagine that there will be a ride sharing app like a Ola or Uber, or you will have a Blinkit or the food delivery happening? They all got enabled because of Google Map. And this is where today, so today, for example, if you were a driver that time, maybe you shucked that, hey, I don't want to be using it, I know my way. But today I tell my driver, even if you know your way, use Google Map because it will tell you the fastest way to get to a point. So if you're a driver, your job got changed. Your core skill set of knowing the location and the knowing the direction is probably not required. You got to be adding newer skill set, whether is opening the door, keeping the car clean, or really adding more value to your customer, they become the value point compared to knowing the direction maybe or so, right? And think about all of us. What was our traditional knowledge point that I remember, I know what is the tax law. I know what is how do we do it in this system, or how do we process an invoice. All those things are pretty much impacted by technology, like it or not, partially or full. So the newer way to add value have to emerge. And the point is that when we say sometimes there's a lot of hype, there's so much of talk, you don't see things happening on the ground. There is this reminder you should always have that yes, we often overestimate the impact in the short term, and but underestimate its impact in the long term. And that's what I think is the key message. If I was to just say that, just remember, play with it, engage with it. More you do it, better you will be, right? In terms of being the leader rather than falling behind. Okay. Uh, there are, oh, I realize there are a few other, but I think there are challenges about and the risk about loss of authenticity. If I was to send you LinkedIn message every time, happy birthday, which I don't even see it and technology is sending it, I lose the power, right? Likewise, if you see the birthday card, the right side and the left side, which one would you trust more? Of course, the left one is handwritten by my daughter. The right one is again uh, by the system and written, hey, my kid's name will write. But would I rely? I say that, hey, by the way, what is your message? So are we losing the authenticity, right? Again, are we having outsourcing our cognitive ability? That's what people are saying, that are we becoming like a infant adults of tomorrow, right? For example, on the left side, we talked about the wheel example. Are we outsourcing? The wheel had, of course, the powerful impact, but the negative side was, have we outsourced our physical ability to the machine or to the wheel, so that we're not now walking anymore? We need to go to a gym for a specific workout. So you have a challenge and the risk, right? Other challenge and the risk is a high rate of failures, which we see 95% projects fail, right? So that's another one what we see. And we see other points around ethical and really about really how much people have the environmental impact, or how much our kids are leaning on some of these tools about, right? About the emotional support. In China, people are looking at the AI pets, right? For comfort. Is that really the world we are going to be living in, right? So call to action will be that be a perpetual learner. It's not about completing your education sometime CA and then after that I'm doing just job. I think you've got to be learning on an ongoing basis. As I said, you got to engage and start building, not talking anymore, and start experimenting, using it for your day to day. What day to day problem you can solve for, and how are you flexible to move from one domain to the other. And I do believe the last point, which we won't have time too much to talk about, ultimately the core human ability, the authenticity, the human ability to connect with each other will become your core advantage, which is what I really passionately talk about when I talk about spiritual intelligence in the era of AI, basically. Okay. And I think the point is that there's this word we often use, reinvent. Reinvent means really not like a learning or improving. Reinvent means fundamental shift in the mindset which is required for us to get better. So with that, let me end. I know I think I went off time, Sushma ji. So we went off schedule, but let's see. Let's hear from people if any questions are there.
Okay. So would we want to take the questions now, or would we just want to, since we just got about, 13 minutes left to 11:30, just have Sanyo give us the thing of how people can join the
Yeah,
mentorship program, and then we can go on for a little bit longer. And
that's
while you
fine.
were talking about it, what was coming to my mind was, wouldn't it be nice to have an app which can tell us whatever content I have, if I want to deliver in 10 minutes, what should be my speech? If I want to deliver the same content in 30 minutes, what should be my speech? Nice to develop that
Ideally,
app, right?
ideally, ideally, I should have used that for my content today. So I understand. Yeah, yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
Amazing power of AI. I think, Vishalji, you have just brought it to life. I think for me, and I'm sure all the participants here, it's just come to life, and it's like, okay, when can I get onto ChatGPT? What are the things I need to do? Huh? My fingers are itching.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think what we'll do is we'll just, Sayong, if you could use your skills and see. Let's see, how do we deliver the same content in 5 minutes or in 7 minutes? Chalo, let's try. Let's challenge ourselves today.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to take cue from Vishalji about the connecting with each other. So hopefully I will connect with each other, not necessarily the content that I have on the slide. So let's get started. Jai Jinendra, everyone. Uh, JPF, which is JITO Professional Forum, is part of JITO. JITO is a very large organization. It has more than 20,000 members and counting. I know on the screen it says 18,000, but every day more new members are being added. It has 9 zones, 73 chapters, 31 international locations. And when we when we got this flyer at that time, Jito had 14 projects or vertical. Now I'm told that we have more than 18 projects. So Jito is working in every aspect of our society, and we all are very proud of that. Now, as I just mentioned, that JPF, which is Jito Professional Forum, is is part of Jito, and the mentorship program is part of JPF. Okay, and our tagline really is where experience meets curiosity, and I'll explain to you that how does it really benefit you. The vision of the program is to build a platform for where Gen professionals can engage with accomplished Gen professionals, people like Vishalji, and I'll tell you our other mentors also. And our medium to long-term vision is that we should connect, this particular platform, uh, a lack of Gen professionals, no matter where they are around the globe, if they are at crossroads or if they want to level up, they can come to this platform and where they can, develop themselves. Now, there are 7 reasons to really join JPF mentorship program. We have a fantastic monthly level up series like the one that you are attending, where you get real stories, practical ideas, and not necessarily gyan. Then we have small group mentoring sessions where those are led by the participants. We have 15 to 25 participants, and you get a chance to interact with the mentors, ask your questions. Then we also have one-on-one mentorship from our industry leaders. Some of you who are today on this call, they have taken advantage of our one-on-one mentorship. Some of you have applied for that, and your paperwork is being processed. And we have more than 400 participants in our WhatsApp group. And our goal really is to create a forum where people can connect, learn, share, and grow with like-minded community members. Everything that we do is recorded. So is this program. It will be available on our YouTube. In a second, we'll tell you how you can access that. You can join from anywhere in the world because everything we do is virtual. And by the way, there is no cost to the community members. So sometimes we think that if it means there's no cost, it may not be available. But I want to remind you that some of the most important things in life, actually, they are free and they have no cost. For example, air that we breathe. Um, so like Vishalji, we have 65 plus other members, and their bios are included in our coffee table book. If you are part of our WhatsApp group, you can access that information very easily in the group description. And in the coffee table book, not only you see the profile, you will see the LinkedIn URL, the area that any mentor they would want to mentor you on, or whatever is your area of curiosity. By the way, I know these, in the interest of time and in the interest of how many slides I wanted to create, the pictures are small. But I want to tell you 3 things about our mentors. Number one, they all, they are industry leaders. Number two, they all work for some of the leading organizations. But the most important thing is that they want to give back to the community. Uh, And this is just, I should say, a Reader's Digest version of the areas that our mentors, offer mentorship. You can see it from leadership and career development to energy and environment and sustainability, operations, supply chain, and there are so many other areas. To give you an idea, key sectors where you can get mentoring, just look at this list. I mean, there are more than 100 topics on that. And this is just the first slide. Look at this. So I don't think that there is any area which is left untouched. Now, September is going to be very, very special. Even though I have this as my third bullet point, but I want to talk about this first. We are celebrating September as the gratitude month. Teachers' Day falls on September 5, but we don't want to just relegate it to one day. We are celebrating the entire month, and we are encouraging people to write uh, mentorship stories. And, the time in your life when somebody believed in you when you really didn't have the self-belief yourself. What was it like, who that person was, and how that person changed the trajectory of your personal or professional career. By the way, our mentors are also doing the same exercise. So in September, on a regular basis, and I'm just going out on the limb, I would say that every day we will be posting one such story. And I can assure you, because I've had the good fortune of getting these stories before they are printed, that each story will not only inspire you, but it will also move you to action. And by the way, on September 7th, we are having our small group session. The topic is very interesting: struggling with job search, a dummy's guide for searching senior management roles. Then on the 21st, we will have industry crossovers, successfully changing industry sectors during your career. And of course, our entire volunteer team, they put up periodically, they share, level up ideas. We really want that our platform should be like no other platform which is out there in the world. And our, my colleagues, they have already, they would have pasted all the links that you would need to join our WhatsApp group, to request for one-on-one mentoring, to look at our playlist, and to also see our coffee table book from where you can see the profile of our mentors. And we are really powered by the community spirit. Everyone, Vishalji, he is the convener of the mentorship program, national convener of the mentorship program. From him to everybody, we are all volunteers, and we just do it, for the community. And by the way, we are also looking for some more volunteers, especially in the area of video editing. So if you have that skill, and if you can give a couple of hours a week for that, we would love to have you on our team. Um, Here is first I showed you our volunteer team. Here is a core team member. You can see all the pictures over there. And by the way, how did I do, Sushmaji? Was it 7 or 9? I am done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wonderful. And I'm sure, people would be excited and request people, and Ritu and has posted in the chat box. So please go ahead, copy those links, save those links so that you can use them even in future. There is a YouTube channel which has all the previous ones. The one-on-one mentoring program, join the WhatsApp. So much to be done and so much we can do together. I mean, it doesn't matter what age or what stage of life. I think mentors are fantastic to have, and I, for one, have had numerous mentors. So, with that, let's look at Vishalji. What would you like to do? Take
I
a
think
couple of questions?
we can, and I can continue till 11:45. And I think, sorry, I think I took more time, but we can
No,
take
that's,
questions for those people who are there. Yeah.
yeah. So, I think that's a great thing. And I think I'm going to just hand it over to Gaurav and then Ritu to ask you some questions which they've seen in the chat box, and they have some too. Go ahead, Gaurav.
Yeah, yeah. So, Vishalji, one of the question that is coming to my mind is definitely AI has an impact, and the tools that we are using, we are sharing our confidential informations also with them. So, how do you see on the potential risk that these systems, which will be operating or are operating beyond the human control?
So there are two ways. I think even that's a question broader in the industry. Even when Elon Musk asked that, hey, by the way, he would pause for the development, or even number of leaders. So there is a question out there about how it's going to shape up. So there's a broader question, and that's why I use the word figuring out. right? Because every time, even this meeting, for example, is a digital content when it gets recorded, and AI's ability to read entire content, digital, whether text, video, images, audio, and then clone and then create a new one is really, really powerful. So that's the one aspect. Second, from a personal day to day, of course, know what it can do. That's where you experiment. For example, what I said, and then you realize, you draw your own boundary about to what extent you want to go ahead, right? For example, in that travel agent example, see, in a practical life, in a personal life, you wouldn't give your travel agent directly a credit card detail till you approve the itinerary, right? There are a number of steps. Likewise, in the future, while you have number of agentic AI driven agents, even in travel, you would want to first approve before you share your details. So you experiment, figure out your own place, but that's an area for sure, a debatable one across industry everywhere.
Yeah, thank you. One of the questions that is that I picked up from the chat box as well. Uh, what is a piece of advice that you have for people who are non-technical or from the non-technical background? How they can embrace this technology and enhance their own skills?
So I would say again, as I said, start using. So the beauty is that you're not looking for the specific technical skill. That's why the word I used was democratize technology. See, Google democratized information. AI or Gen AI has democratized answers. So when you're working with yourself, the dumbest of the question, otherwise you take the screenshot, you ask the question, start playing with it. You do not need technical background. In my case, for example, this was my first hands-on experience of using Google API or otherwise. Yes, I have had team members when I started working 2015 onward, specifically on this technology, but I did not do it myself. So today, I did not code anything what I showed, but I used it and I experimented and I worked with it and I asked in a human-like language question, hey, I'm stuck, help me, what do I do? And then it is giving me answer. So that's why I think the barrier in our mind should be removed that, hey, I need to be a technology person. That's why people are saying that nowadays more and more that you don't need to be a coder. Yes, a tech orientation will be of help, which will happen as you start playing with it. More you will know what you don't know, and you'll figure out. But the best way, as I said, the build don't talk. In your day-to-day problem, even in your personal life, I have a menu every day. Let's say my wife struggles कि खाना क्या बनेगा, right? अब वो एक मेन्यू बना हुआ है, पेपर में लिखा हुआ है. Can I use something in my day-to-day life which can help to guide as a family? So start thinking with that mindset of, hey, using technology to enable me and power me, and maybe I'll struggle, but I'll reach somewhere. And that's the best way to get your hands dirty and learn. You don't need to wait for a course or a session. More you learn and more you experiment solving day-to-day problem, better you will be actually. And you'll be more educated about the limitations. You'll be educated about the possibilities both ways.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Vishalji. Ritu, if you have any questions, or we can take from the chat box, or if someone they want to.
Yeah, just taking it from the chat box, I think Arihanji posted long back, like in the start of the session, that while we keep saying like AI is getting human-like, often when he chats with GPT, he gets the kind of answers that are very long, detailed, and not something that he would really hear from his friend. So, is there a way that we could change? He could change this, or what's wrong with this kind of usage or response getting from GPT?
Uh, See, my personal take is it is becoming more human-like for sure, right? And you can always prompt in the right way. Give me a response like as if I was a 6 years old, or as if I want to give a response only in 2, 3 lines, whatever. You can always do that. But the other side is, are we using our authenticity? For example, I do write regularly on LinkedIn. I do not use it to draft. I use it to refine my language only. I give it that, keep my original message and the sentence structure same. Suggest me the edits from a grammatical perspective or anything. And then I go one by one to edit. So in that case, what I'm doing is I'm keeping my authentic self. Otherwise, think about, as we say, about half of LinkedIn blogs, long blogs, are written by AI. Now everybody's becoming a book writer or a content creator, but who is going to read them? Like my example of birthday card, one birthday card is handmade, written, other one is tech driven. Would you pay the same importance to the tech written content? No, the answer is no. So the one is that, can technology do the thing to like give you the shorter answer? It certainly can. It's a matter of how do you prompt and how do you get better at it. But second point is, are you really getting the true authentic human self? That's a real question out there. And I do want to really, that's why I think the authenticity, the true human voice has got a lot of value and more value in the future. And at least in my personal context, I would rather keep that. I'll keep myself as the handwritten equivalent birthday message rather than an automated generated message. What I was trying to show you is the power. Now you decide what is the line you want to draw in terms of where you want to go ahead with.
Right. Thank you. And another, I think, a common concern that has popped up is about the security. So when you were showing the
Yeah.
AI agentic framework and we were like connecting to your LinkedIn, how
Yeah.
safe is it?
Yeah. So right now, again, I say that's why please ask me before sending it as an example, right? There's this question that would I want to expose, like a lot of people are now generating content, the video content through AI avatar, and that creates a digital plan and posting it regularly. So people do that. They give an access or so. So again, as I said earlier, figure out your own lines. For me, I will rather spend some extra minutes to do the thing myself rather than exposing. But if at all you're doing it as a business, probably you will do that because you are doing it for your clients and you're using tech tools to really bring the efficiency. So it's a matter of ROI about your giving your personal data versus the efficiency you're going to be getting. And I think we all can have our individual line. But the bottom line would be that, again, as I said, use in your day-to-day for a day-to-day problem. Because when you use in the day-to-day problem, even in your official context, you will know what it can do or not, right? Because then you'll be able to realize that it may take time in the official context because there are a number of data exchange and privacy in a corporate context, but eventually the technology has its effect and it's going to really come in. So more you use in the personal life, you are better able to appreciate the impact on the jobs, your future career options, and then you can really visualize and you can think ahead. So that will be my answer to.
Okay, thank you. Um, so I think there's one more that has just come from like a recent graduate, and that's the a very hyped question about will AI take away the jobs?
So again, you can research a lot, right? And with all the technology, number of things are coming in, there is a shift happening, correct? There's a famous saying in the industry by many leaders that those who are using AI will take away the jobs of those who are not using it,
Yes.
correct? So are you the producer or a consumer, or are you like that image of wheel? You're saying that, hey, I don't want to be using it. I'm so busy, or I don't want to use it. The world is changing. So the shift is going to happen, right? The skills are going to be newer skills are required. The old skills, like the example of a driver in a Google Map, pre-Google Map era, the skill has changed. So are you adapting to the new skills, to the new types of jobs? So the new elements of your job is the key question. It's not a binary answer that take away the job or not. I think it's you'll see a mix of many things. In fact, you can research World Economic Forum report of future of jobs every year that is published. You'll get number of data points about the shift happening in the industry.
Right. Thank you. I hope that answers like questions for at least the people who are still learning or educating. Gaurav, do we have any more questions?
There's just Achin Jen has asked, what areas have you seen with successful application of agentic AI?
So number of, see, one is a pointed areas. For example, I had this LinkedIn. This is like a personal use case. So there are a number of areas where you can deploy for a particular task. Can I automate this? So that I have seen coming to fray, coming to the real life application. But the true agentic architecture is totally autonomous. Like think about a travel planner. It can understand my context, my intent, my memory. It can do and then just tell me the final itinerary and I approve book it. I think those are some of those areas are still to come in the full-fledged manner, where it is a truly end-to-end automation. Truly end-to-end automation doesn't mean that humans do not have a role. Human in the loop is there because I can define that, hey, at this stage, check with the human. So agents are talking with each other. They're coming to the human that, hey, I have done the mapping of purchase order with the invoice and the goods receipt. It is matching. Do you want me to proceed to make the payment? The human is reviewing the work, maybe spending a minute or two, whatever. I say yes. Agent is now processing the payment. So think about the end-to-end architecture. So number of those areas are being experimented, coming to life every single day. And many of them are POC stage, again, which is very, very natural. But things are rapidly evolving, is my answer there.
Okay.
But in your personal life, you can use the agent more, for example. I used it first time in the last few days only, in fact, frankly, and I was like wowed by it, that what it could do and all that, even in my day to day.
Vishalji, there's an interesting question over here, and I think it would be a great way to, great finale question. Does it involve some kind of unlearning, both in terms of mindset as well as behavior? And how would you address that?
So there is this term called LURED, LURED, learning, unlearning, relearning every day, I guess. Absolutely 100%. Because our old mindset of using technology. See, I started my career back in 96. I implemented SAP back in 1999, Oracle in 2006. So that is somewhere feeded in the mind. You implement a system, you wait for months or quarters or years, it goes live, you test, validate, then you drive user adoption. That's what I've seen. So somewhere, unless I play with the new technology, I'll not be able to appreciate in my mind, in my DNA, that how fast it could become. So there is 100% that mind of unlearning required, and learning new skill is required. And as I said, every day, because that's the only way for us to really be relevant for the future, right? If you're a student, again, for you also required, because what you learned during the school days may not be as relevant in the future. If you are a college grad like my son, again, number of things have to be unlearned, and you need to be keeping an eye about the newer skills. Absolutely, it is, I think, is applicable for all of us for sure.
Right.
Okay, I know I said that was the last one, but there is one question from Shubham, and he's a great supporter of the program, and he's asking you a question because you also have finance background. How AI is useful in finance field like CMA, um, and he's put CMA USA. So I guess
So to see whether CMA or CA, CPA or any field, see, number of our education has been focused a lot around what is this concept, or memorize. That has been the major part about what. So that memorization part is pretty much taken away, and technology is there to serve us and help us, right? It's more about the application in the day-to-day life. So I guess whether you're doing CMA or so, yes, good that you got the technical background. Look at the options in your career where you apply the technical background, use AI for the repeatable, measurable process work, and see where you're able to use that, what skill you gain during CMA to really add value, from analysis, from insights, from advice to your business partners, to be able to look at how you can add value to the P&L. So if you are spending your time and energy in terms of doing a regular, routine, repeatable job, know that repeatable portion is going to be automated or augmented. So you have to lift up your advisory skills, the thinking skills, your insight skills, and that's the best way to approach whether you've done CMA or any degree for that matter also, right? I think degrees will help us to have some structured knowledge, but do know that the what part is already taken away or answered or already solved for. Like a Google Map example for a driver, direction is already solved. So somewhere you knowing the direction from this place to this place may not be as relevant in future, but you still, in the job, you will have to find out the newer ways to add value, is what would I say.
okay. I know you had to leave by 11:40.
I yeah, I can take the last question if any. Otherwise, we can certainly carry on the discussion. I think in our level up series to other speakers also. Uh,
I want to put up a question on behalf of the audience. Like, this was a very, very great session, and I think it was just like tip of the iceberg. And when people cracked what AI is, if they want to go deeper into this and learn more, what's the best way to do that? And they might be want to learn in their own ways and own applications.
yeah.
Any recommendations?
So two things I could say. If you are a college grad, like I see Ajay here on camera, or anybody else otherwise, or you're a professional, you can take a session within your community for your students, for your children, for your batchmates. In that process, you end up learning more, right? That's just a one way to do it. Number two is, even in your day-to-day life, even in a personal life, find a problem. Why you need to wait for an app to be out or an entrepreneur to think like that? We all can have that mindset of improving. Can I improve my day-to-day life? And start with that. You may not have technical background, you may get stuck somewhere, you may not reach the complete stage of launching an app, and all that doesn't matter. In the process, at least you will understand and learn in the process, and in that process you'll start watching relevant videos, because when learning is with intention, with a specific problem, it is much powerful than learning in a generic way. Learning in a generic way is there's so much content, what do you learn? So the best way is that if day-to-day problem is there, let me start using it. And then even for example, even for our level up series, I got number 2 or 3 use cases, right? How can we really apply? And let's see. That's the best way to learn. And the good thing is, take a screenshot, put it there. Hey, what do I do in this case? That's the power. Otherwise, I had to figure out, talk to somebody that, hey, by the way, I got stuck. I don't need to actually. I can at least try these technology tools to help me with this. We did not talk about the number of tools right now, but there's a Gamma fantastic in PPT. There's a Napkin fantastic in visual point of it. Zapier is about automation. I use like several of them. And again, one thing I did not mention is there's no one answer from a one app or a one tool. You might use a variety of them together to get to an answer, right? So in my case, I use ChatGPT, I use Lovable, I use Zapier, and I think I use Perplexity as well to get to the right answer. And again, I subscribe. I had the free version of it, right? But I could get to the answer from a variety of tools. So you don't need to get married to, hey, which tool is good or not. You can use a variety of them. But pick a problem in a day-to-day life, even in your office life. Use the tool which is already there in your corporate sector, in your office, which is permittable, right? Use that. In your personal life, use this democratized tool. Pick a problem, it will give you elevation and that high that I did something and I solved the problem, right? And that's a great feeling compared to learning for which could be endless, which could very well be done, but probably that will be my preferred route.
Thank you. Over to you, Senulji.
Thank you, Vishalji. I've always said that we had the Tokyo Olympics without the spectators, but when it comes to our webinars, our level up series, we need the audience. And so I want to thank the audience for coming on a Sunday. I want to thank Vishalji. I want to thank the entire volunteer team. You have left so much for us to digest, Vishalji. And I think there are many things that are going to stand out for me. And one is learning with intention. When you're learning with intention, your learning curve is much shorter compared to when you just come and learn for
Yeah.
in a generic way.
Yeah.
So thanks again. And by the way, as all of you check out, if you would want a deeper session on this in our small group session, you can just write it on the chat and we'll get an idea that, what do you think about it? And should we hold another session as a small group session?